Hi everyone, welcome to this special episode of the SIXiDER show. I'm your host, Asding, aka the designer, and joining me here today we have Damien from Outlines.
Exactly. Hello everyone, I'm Damien from Outlines. Good to see everyone.
Welcome, Damien. I know you for a very long time for another brand, but this is a new brand.
Yes.
And I was going to ask you what's new, then I realized that the brand and the product is really very new.
Exactly.
You want to share a little bit more about this brand and the products?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me here with me, Ashley.
Thank you.
Really appreciate that. Like you mentioned, this is actually a brand new entity that we've actually developed. It's an innovative product that we've actually engineered. It's able to change the way power is delivered into our entire space itself.
Wow. It sounds okay. Let's not 卖关子. Let's really zero in. What really is the product?
Okay, it is in fact a linear power track system that we've actually developed. More than just engineering it to be aesthetically pleasing, it is extremely functional as well.
Okay.
Yep.
You want to give our audience a visual of how it looks like?
Okay, maybe before I jump into giving a visual of how the product actually looks like, let me just run you through what a conventional power socket actually looks like. All right. I have here with me a conventional power socket that we have been living or accepting it as
standard,
as a standard for the industry itself. With this conventional power socket itself, this is what we've been living with and accepted throughout our lives.
Yeah.
All
so
right?
sometimes it comes with trunking,
Exactly.
sometimes it's concealed,
Right.
but that's how it looks like.
Exactly. And for that being said itself, once it's been installed, the positions of it has actually been locked in.
It's fixed.
You can't move it as and when you want it.
Yep.
All right. And over here we have a double gang. When you're living into the space itself, you realize that you need actually more appliances around that area. What happens then?
Most of the circumstance is that you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And especially homeowners who are embarking on renovation for the first time, right? They either bring with them their ideas of where they used to stay.
Yes.
And they think that, I rationalize that my PowerPoint should be here, here, here. But once you really go in and stay in your space, right, then you realize that, I need the steamboat.
Exactly.
And I need PowerPoint here. But
Right.
then I didn't run a PowerPoint.
Yep.
So you end up having a extension wire.
Extension cord or multiple plugs just to ensure this socket itself is able to power up your appliances that you need.
Okay, so this is a solution to that problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what we have on hand itself, it's a product that seamlessly deliver powers as and when you want it to be.
Let's
So to show
review.
you- Right. In fact, having here with me today, it's the material finishing of the selection that you like. With over here itself is just a 3mm groove line. All right. You might be wondering, what does this 3mm groove line actually stand for, and how does that actually solve the conventional power sockets that we see over here itself?
Like this is replaced by this. How?
Is it even possible?
Yeah, is it even possible?
Okay, let me just show you the magic itself. What I have over here with me is the proprietary power socket, a UK power adapter that is developed by Outlines. All right, it is a proprietary system. This has been tested and approved by the safety mark. And at the back of the adapter itself, it's a little 3mm fin. This is the groove that I'm talking about, and what you do is to seamlessly plug it into the groove, and that is where you are able to tap power from it.
Oh, so basically, as long as I have some form of a feature wall of sort, and I can actually have a groove line, and I suppose there's power supply and all that at the
Exactly.
back. Once this thing slot in, it can basically be here, 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 and depending on the length, I can basically plug in as many of this power plug to this.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
So a typical question is, where do we normally use this, and what are the areas of application can it be actually applied? These are typically used in areas like the kitchen backsplash, a TV feature wall, the bed head, so on and so forth. But of course, what you're seeing over here is just one of the application on the wall for vertical finishes. But if you're talking about using the same concept as a horizontal application, this can actually be planted on a kitchen island, for example, whereby typically you will only have power sockets on the extreme ends. But right now, you're able to run a 3mm groove line along the entire island, utilizing the entire space itself.
That's very interesting because then it adds another dimension to how you can actually design and integrate power sockets like this. Because traditionally, what we normally want is you will want to have it on the side of the wall because that's how it's traditionally run. But what about concerns like water and all that? If it's on the countertop, then you will think about like spillages and all that.
Spillages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a very good question actually.
Yeah.
In fact, this product is tested to be IP54. So what does IP54 actually stands for? 5 representing its dustproof and 4 taking it as the splash resistance.
Okay.
Alright. So of course, if there's a spillage on accidental spillage onto the panel itself, just simply wipe it off. Because in the power track itself, there's actually a membrane that covers it and protects from dust and water itself.
So it means basically as you slot in, the membrane acts as a resistor.
Exactly.
But once it pulls it out, it seals off.
It seals off and acts like an umbrella.
I see. What I really like about this, and if I were to kind of see it from an interior design's perspective, right, is that we deal with grooves all the time, especially when we are doing design for apartments. When we bring up panels for wall features, bed heads and all that, many a times we have to build it in parts because it needs to fit into the lift.
Right.
So once it goes into the lift, right, then we have to kind of like design groove lines such that it looks like it's well intentioned. And when we have grooves with this, it creates an opportunity. Can you imagine like at the side of a bed here, right? You know you got groove line already, but now the groove line is not just design. It can be your power socket.
Correct.
Right? So you don't like, you take away, or you like, you can add. But it's not just power sockets, right?
Yep.
You know, you have other stuff, right?
Exactly.
Like what?
In fact, in terms of accessories that we have, more than just a UK adapter itself, we have a USB fast charge.
Fast charge. Right?
Fast charge.
So it's the USB socket head.
Exactly. USB-C specific,
USB-C.
and that's a fast charge version. And more than just that itself, we have Bluetooth speakers that we can just plug in into these groove lines to act as a surround speaker for the entire space.
Nice. So in the bedroom, let's say you've got a bed head, right? One speaker here, one speaker there. The power socket is at the bottom.
Right.
You got night light.
Not exactly.
No, don't have night light. Okay, so maybe you will have night light so that you can do your night reading.
Right.
Yeah. This is the membrane part. So this is the one that's at the back.
A lot of you might be wondering, this little power track itself, it seems like quite a robust system, but how does it actually look like? How big it is, and whether it actually fits into the entire space of
The footprint.
the footprint itself, correct? But what I have on hand itself, it's the exact power track that I'm talking about. This is what we call the line core. So this is actually embedded at the back of the panel. And by plugging the OK adapter from the front through the 3mm groove line itself, you are able to access power from it.
So this is the thickness.
Correct.
And then this is the thickness of the panel.
Yep.
Right, so if you're using the panel, it will be like that. So it's really very thin. And typically, like our center partition walls and all that definitely can fit this.
No problem for that.
And it's safety mark, meaning that with the right connectors and all that, you're not concerned about spark. And then you just now mentioned there's IP54, which is like dust resistance as well as water resistance to a certain extent because it's got the membrane that restrict water from going.
Yep.
So I can really see the everyday benefits. And again, from a homeowner's perspective as well as an interior designer's perspective, I really see how we can actually, mask some of these grooves, right, which is meant for joinery, but also at the same time serves other functions, which is in this case here, the plug. And if I can tell you honestly, there are a lot of grooves in the house, right?
It is.
Even like this, right, when we look at our side cabinet, you see here there's a groove already.
Yep.
So groove is like very common. Now you can actually design it as part of something that serves more than one purpose.
Correct.
That's nice.
With this product introduction itself, it serves more than just aesthetic. It has good functionality to it as well. So it's a marry of both best of both worlds itself.
Yeah. And obviously we've seen power tracks in the market. And this is the first time I'm seeing something so neat, so minimal. In fact, I can even say that it's non-intrusive. At some point, some of these power bars and the plugs, right, it's, for lack of better word, it seems like it's a glorified power bar.
It is in some form.
It's kind of loud.
Yeah.
And yes, you see it, then it looks good, but the fact that once you plug in, the wires start coming out, right, it isn't as aesthetic as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess you know me for quite a while.
Yep.
In terms of the OCDness that we
Yes.
have itself, I think that's this when we came across this product and when we were developing it itself, that's where we were coming at. Engineering it more than just from the aesthetic point of view itself, in terms of functionality itself, pushing it to the limits as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the irony with a lot of people is that they will buy, designer switches, designer plugs, the faceplate and all that.
Right.
But you have to think in terms of like the actual usage. The reality is that first, if you didn't consider it well, then you end up with having a lot of multi-plugs, right? And then no matter how well designed the plug is, right, it's meant to be used.
That's right.
Right. So
That's
in
right.
this case, where what Damien means by when he's OCD is that he sees he considers all this.
Right.
So plugs like this is aesthetic, yes, but by the nature of how we use it should be non-intrusive.
Correct.
How you guys come across this? Why would you innovate something like this?
Right. Because to be honest, you have renovated places before.
Yeah.
All right, and a lot of times, it's only after when you started moving in and when you started changing your idea of the furniture layout, then you started realizing that all the sockets that you've actually planned for, they are all misplaced, they are all out of position. And that's a little disturbing to us in some form, because that's where the existing power sockets itself limits our design flair rather
Yeah.
than it's the other way around.
Yeah.
And that's where we start questioning, are we able to change that? And that is the solution that we came up with.
So the appliances should be an enabler. It should create flexibility and not become an afterthought.
Exactly.
But then the reality is there will be regrets and afterthought in renovation. It's an undeniable truth.
Yeah.
And when you have a solution that basically allows you to have that flexibility, then it lowers that risk and because you don't know what you don't know.
Correct.
And it's a very true fact because you may not have a kid right now.
Yep.
But very soon you have a kid, and then that kid suddenly has this appliance, and you don't have a PowerPoint there for that particular appliance.
Right.
Then how?
Yep.
So this actually gives you that flexibility. And of course, the initial investment maybe all these things needs to be there, but you can always add the plugs later on, down the road. So you don't really have to. It won't cost you an arm and leg in consideration of that.
And in fact, the beauty about this is when you decide to move to a next property itself,
Or you take
you are able to extract the power tracks, the outlines put out from the existing home and bring it to your new premise
Wow.
itself. So that's the beauty.
Trust and OCD when it comes to like innovation and this kind of consideration. Because if you say that, right, then the product is really sustainable to a certain
It
extent.
is.
Because you're extending the mileage
Yep.
and the longevity of usage.
Correct. What we see over here itself, outlines is more than just a product. It is actually a design movement.
Ah,
Right?
okay.
Architects love this product because it protects the design intent. Interior designers, they love the product because it gives them the design flexibility in terms of the layout planning. And especially when it comes to homeowners, they love it as well. Because not only will it elevate the entire experience of the home that they stay in, it also in some form elevates the property value.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think nicely encapsulated, the statement is actually it protects the design intent. For those who may or may not be versed in design vocabulary, what that basically means is this: it's like imagine a designer design a space, right? And then after that, I hand over the home to you, but you decide, okay, the theme could be maybe modern Scandinavian, and then you end up bring in an heirloom from your grandma's home, which is actually this teak jati oriental furniture.
Yeah.
Then the design intent changes.
Correct.
Because then you cannot kind of preserve the direction that the designer was actually looking at. But when this product comes into the picture, it actually allows you to kind of have that flexibility, and the integrity of the design is not compromised in any way, because you can slowly add and all that. And of course, it is very minimal in design. There's no intrusiveness.
Yep.
That's what I really love about this. So.
Glad you
And
like it as well.
I really love it. In fact, I was telling some of my colleagues here that the next overhaul I'm looking at is actually the kitchen. And I'm already thinking about how I should be using this. In the kitchen there are a lot of appliances. And the thing is, some of these appliances, we don't need it on a peace day. What I mean by peace day is that not every day you big cooking, right?
Correct.
And then how the appliance you will want to keep it, otherwise it's like it's everywhere, it's collecting
that's right.
dust. Yeah. So when I require that, then I will require the plug. But right now, if let's say it's not just about keeping the things, right? If I keep the thing, then I'll have all my plugs everywhere. So right now, if I take the contraption and I keep it, right, the appliance away, even the plug can keep, the wires I can also keep. So really, really very neat.
Yeah, you can keep the place as clean as you want it to be. Set up whenever you need it, and just keep it as clean as it is when you're done.
So in that way, right, it forces us to kind of think about, or rather reinterpret how we can design the cabinetry as well. Yeah, you mentioned that this can also be mounted on the backsplash. So traditionally we have concrete and we have tiles. So in this case, if I want to have this on the backsplash, can I do this with glass?
Technically, we could do that as well.
What about house?
Likewise.
Likewise.
It's a coordination of ourselves together with the interior designers and the contractors on board as well. So depending on what surface material you would actually want to put in front, that's where the coordination comes in, and that's where our expertise of things will come in.
I know there are actually quite a number of peripherals that you guys have. Including this solution right now is actually basically a groove one, but I saw that there's also skirts as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Of course. Another innovative product line that we have under our lines itself is what we call the power base.
This power base, if I'm not wrong, is basically like sitting on a skirt lah.
Exactly. So what this power base actually does itself is it looks exactly like a skirting with a height of only 80 mm. Alright? So this can actually replace the existing skirting of your house.
Yeah, so that means the skirt is supplying power. It's not just a solution for mopping.
No.
Most of the time we have skirts for the mopping.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. So this is exactly the power base that I was talking about. But of course, don't be overly surprised with so many colors over here.
Yeah.
These are basically the colors that are available for the power base. So this is a height of 80 mm, and if you look closer, there is actually a similar groove that's running on top of this power base. So what happens over here itself, it's the adapter. Instead of having it in a straight fin, it is a fin in an L shape.
So it's like a hook like that.
That's right, and it's able to hook directly over the power base.
Oh, okay. So this is 80 mm. I suppose when we get the plug, right, it's actually sit like half like that.
Slightly above.
So because my concern will actually be like, how are the wire?
The tail of the adapter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the proprietary adapter that I was talking about, but with a slightly different setup in terms of the fin.
Okay.
All right. And this is how we hook it over.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
So back to your question, as in when the UK plug itself, usually it has a tail that comes along together with it.
Yeah.
It is set up in such a way that with this 80 mm height itself, it clears, the tail actually clears it off. Yeah.
Is there a possibility that this is one day, you have an inverse option? The inverse option or a side option? Is there a possibility?
In fact, that's another option that has the adapter sitting on top like that. It is another version of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is something that's available as well.
Again, it's very hard to visualize this. You do really have to go either visit the website, watch a video that we'll be producing very soon for them, and of course come to the show itself at the Smart Home Tech Show, because then you can kind of like imagine or visualize the potential of this thing in your space. For many people who has come to kind of like integrate smart living into their home, right? The keywords I always like to say is that you're making the space work for you.
Correct.
Not you work for the space. In terms of design, right, usually we always we can adapt one night. The table height is not high enough, then we just get a lower chair, we adapt, we evolve for it. But that kind of like defeats the purpose of why you get a designer, or you design in the first place, right? Is that you kind of think and anticipate about this, but then again, you don't know what you don't know. There's always that kind of potential.
Yep.
And it helps to have solutions like this, because as we evolve, as we grow into the space and all that, our needs and lifestyle change.
Correct.
And solutions like this do play a part.
Exactly. So be it's the line core that I first introduced or the power base that was later introduced, these are products that when we introduce to the market itself, we want it to be future-proof. We want to future-proof the space. as we develop, as we continue our journey through our lives itself, our requirements, our needs changes in our space. And this is something that we can actually future proof it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. So I'm sure there are a lot of things that's in your head in terms of like version 2, version 3, but this product is currently launched.
It is in the market.
It is live already.
It is live in the market.
And there are case studies. There are projects that are already being used.
Of course.
And any interesting case studies or anecdotes that you want to share with us as you implement this product into the space?
The journey has been pretty interesting. The market has been pretty kind to us, to be honest. It is a blessing to have a product like this on hand, whereby the very first time when we introduced it to the market, the effect was literally wow. I can't imagine we are able to tap a power source just from a 3mm gap itself.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, a lot of times power tracks with a 3mm groove lines itself, it actually evolves into the entire design aspect rather than it's just a mere joint line.
Yeah.
With that 3mm groove, it's able to integrate and emphasize more than just a groove line itself. There is a good function to it.
As a designer, why I like it is because I think you bring forward the consideration of your sockets and all that,
Right.
and you integrate it, or rather you bring it forward so that it's part of the consideration as opposed to an afterthought. Electrical usage, and if you're trying to be smart about it, is that, well, like I said, you don't know what you don't know, but you can think a little bit further ahead by bringing
right.
some of these thoughts much earlier in the conversation with your designers. And it helps that there are products like that in the market right now that kind of address this as a solution.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us in our SIXiDER show live at the Smart Home Tech Show. But I think we have you for the next round as well for another brand that we're going to be talking about. We're going to take a short break right now. And thanks Damien for joining us.
Thank you, Ashley, and thank you so much to your dedicated team at SIXiDER.
No
Really
problem.
appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you guys.
All right, thank you. See you around.